Welcome to @Cronkite News, your social sharing connection where you choose the news. Facebook likes and shares, tweets, retweets, and favorites. YouTube views and subscriptions. We're watching you watch us. From our digital home at cronkitenews.azpbs.org to your television, web browser, or mobile device. Let's get a refresh on the top Arizona news of the week.
An investigation of 2 inmate suicides at 2 separate Arizona prisons in the last year found serious misconduct among employees. 13 were fired and another 8 were disciplined. Ty Scholes looked deeper into the DOC's records to find out what went wrong.
Video released Friday shows corrections officers at Perryville Prison scrambling to revive Cynthia Apka. Apka was found dead in August, hanging from a vent by her bedsheet. An internal investigation found that the guards in charge of checking on her were instead spending unnecessary amounts of time in the control room and were caught lying about doing checks in the logbook.
What are these correctional officers actually doing if they are not there 100% of the time watching people like they should be?
This DOC video shows prison employees trying to revive her, with Goodyear first responders rushing her to a hospital 15 minutes later. In recent court documents, the ACLU says that the DOC is failing to provide medical and mental health treatment for mentally ill patients, including those on suicide watch. In another suicide case, which occurred in February, a corrections officer at Florence Prison found Scott Saba hanging from an electrical cord in his cell. But the officer was unable to call for help because she had turned in her radio and keys before her shift was over.
These are not isolated incidents. It happens over and over.
Arizona DOC Director Charles Ryan said in a release, "Our investigations uncovered troubling instances of neglect of duty and other serious misconduct by some employees, which, as a public safety agency, we cannot and will not tolerate."
We really have been hoping that this is a wake-up call. The firing of these officers is a wake-up call for the people of Arizona to realize that, we are not treating the people in our care. Prisoners or not, we're not treating them humanely.
The ACLU asked a federal judge to compel the DOC to strengthen plans to improve mental and medical health care at all of Arizona's prisons within 45 days. Ty Scholes, Cronkite News.
Heroin deaths continue to plague our state with a surge in the number of overdoses.
Cronkite News reporter Erica Lang speaks with those personally impacted by heroin's hold.
Gregory Hess has been the chief medical examiner in Pima County for almost 5 years, a county where nearly 100 people died of heroin overdoses last year.
We had 93 deaths attributed to heroin in 2015, and that's definitely an increase over previous years.
According to Hess, heroin was the #1 drug for single drug overdoses last year.
Certainly it's not going to stop. It will continue to happen, but hopefully some of this information can influence decreasing certain kinds of deaths.
Dara Lawson of Phoenix lost 3 of her friends to heroin overdoses over a 2-month period. A recovering addict herself and now the mother of 2 children. Lawson uses the memory of her friends as motivation to stay sober.
I do remember all of those people who I've lost whenever I do get the urge, and I think I don't want to be that person. I don't, for my parents' sake, for my kids' sake, for my sake, because I live a beautiful life.
But it's a life that still poses challenges.
After one of my son's surgeries, they had given him a bottle of liquid opiates, and I looked at that for a second and I'm like, whew, nope, and that was it.
The DEA says as many as 80 to 90% of all heroin users begin their addiction with prescription drugs, something we first reported last year in Hooked, tracking heroin's hold on Arizona.
Prescription drug addiction permeates every demographic. There is no boundary, there is no label, there is no stereotype. And because there is no stereotype for prescription drug abuse, there is consequently no stereotype for heroin drug abuse.
It happens in great neighborhoods. I grew up in an awesome area, a great school. I went to church 3 times a week, and it hit my brother and I right then and there.
Neighborhoods like Sahuarita, a town south of Tucson, Terry Bernier's oldest son was introduced to pain pills after a skateboarding accident 8 years ago, and heroin hooked him shortly after.
Over time, you find, spoons and foil, and, then you start researching and looking. I think the first program he went to was up in Phoenix, and he asked for help. He came to me, he said, I really need help.
About a year and a half ago, Bernier started a local branch of the program, Celebrate Recovery, after feeling there was a lack of support from schools for those impacted by heroin in her community.
Same with the police, the churches that I've tried to get involved. A lot of them just don't understand drug addiction, and unfortunately, until it hits your family, you don't even really maybe notice it.
It starts in the home, it starts in our communities, and we as a community, as parents, as educators, can make the difference, and we really should. Otherwise, we got to do this before it's too late.
Lawson understands the dangers of relapsing and knows her friend's story could too easily be her own.
That could have been my moment of death if I had gone and relapsed at that time. But because somebody else was there and we talked it out, I'm sober right now, So just staying close to people and just grabbing a hold of that safety net is always just so important.
Friends, family, and the memories of those she has lost help Lawson to continue moving forward. In Phoenix, Erica Lang, Cronkite News.
The toxic waste spill from the Gold King mine impacted 3 states and thousands of people along the Animas and San Juan rivers. Now, some members of Congress are calling for a criminal investigation. Cronkite News reporter Alexis Dominguez attended the U.S. Senate Committee on Indian Affairs field hearing in Phoenix.
Congresswoman Ann Kirkpatrick and U.S. Senator John McCain called for a criminal investigation of the EPA for its response to the toxic spill that cut off irrigation water to Indian communities. During the hearing, Kirkpatrick said that she is outraged at the fact that no one can be sure that the water is no longer contaminated with lead and other metals.
And the EPA has failed in their response to remediating these abandoned mines. So there's still a hazard there that we have to remediate.
Kirkpatrick says she is especially concerned for infants drinking formula with contaminated water and children living on Hopi lands.
I've introduced legislation to address it, to compensate them. We're going to push forward with that. We'd like to get that passed as quickly as possible.
Kirkpatrick also called for financial help for the farmers on the land.
You heard the testimony from the tribal leaders that the farming season is now. They need to be compensated so they can grow their crops. They need to be able to monitor the soils and the water to make sure there's no more contamination.
Navajo Nation President Russell Begay was at the hearing representing Navajo communities and conveyed his fears.
We need our farmers compensated. That clearly needs to be done. We need a real-time testing of our water, of our soil.
Begay also talked about what he feels is a lack of communication between the EPA and Navajo tribes.
We need to have another hearing because we need to bring out all of these other things that's taking place. EPA speaks one language with non-Indian communities and speaks a different language with Navajo community.
Senator McCain, who headed the hearing, ended by saying that we are far from finished dealing with the issue. In Phoenix, Alexis Dominguez, Cronkite News.
Arizona Congressman Raul Grijalva joined tribal leaders today to call on President Obama to declare 1.7 million acres around the Grand Canyon off limits to mining forever. Cronkite News reporter Samantha Witherwax is in our Washington bureau with more.
Almost 6 months after Congressman Raul Grijalva introduced the Greater Grand Canyon National Heritage Monument Act to Congress, its backers are now changing course. Representative Grijalva and other tribal leaders are now calling on the president to step in and take executive action.
President Obama, come stand with us and support the Greater Grand Canyon National Heritage Monument.
Congressman Grijalva said that they made a good faith effort to pass the bill through Congress, but ultimately the pushback was too intense.
I don't think the Republican delegation, McCain and Flake that are opposed to it, Gosar, the rest of them that are opposed to it, I think it'd be really tough sledding to try to get a real honest, rational hearing on this, which would be the ideal way to do it, but it's not going to happen.
The bill would protect 1.7 million acres of federal lands around the Grand Canyon from mining and would also make the current 20-year ban permanent. Havasupai Council member Carletta Talusi said this bill is critical in protecting their lives and home.
We would like to continue our lives in the bottom of the Grand Canyon in peace and harmony. And that's all we ask.
Congressman Grijalva expects more opposition from other members of the delegation, but he thinks he's in the right.
I think Mr. Gosar, Mr. McCain, Mr. Flake are on the wrong side of the angels on this one, and it's an inevitability to it, and they should just relax.
Now, we've reached out to Senator McCain, Senator Flake, and Congressman Gosar for a comment, but we have not heard back. Reporting live in Washington, Samantha Witherwax, Cronkite News.
Losing a pet is something no owner wants to think about, but it was a reality for Victoria Tenorio.
Cronkite News reporter Elena Mendoza tells us the story of how the pair were reunited.
There's no place like home, and for Toto the cat, this couldn't be more true.
He just slipped out and my mom didn't notice, and then we closed the garage, and I think he wasn't able to find his way back home.
Victoria says she put up posters around her Chandler neighborhood to find him, but didn't get any responses.
First I was really hopeful, and then afterwards I was like, okay, well maybe he's not going to come back home, because it's been a year.
To her surprise, she received a call from Stephanie Nichols Young, president of the Animal Defense League of Arizona.
I actually started crying.
She told her Toto was found on the opposite side of the valley.
Someone trapped him in Glendale, and they brought him to the clinic. They scanned for the microchip, and he got home.
Once the microchip was called, we were able to get her that cat in less than a day.
Moorfield says vets and shelters routinely check for microchips in stray cats and dogs when they come in. If the scanner beeps and the information in the database is correct, reunions like Victoria and Toto's are possible.
Toto, like many animals who are adopted through shelters, make up 1/3 of owned cats and usually come microchipped. For the other 2/3 given as pets or taken in from the street, Moorfield strongly encourages owners to have the procedure done.
The process to do a microchip is less than a minute, and then your animal's protected for the life of it.
The microchip is about the size of a grain of rice and can be injected without anesthesia.
If it weren't for the microchip, then Toto wouldn't be back home, so I'm extremely grateful for that.
Moorfield says it's important for owners who have already microchipped their pets to make sure their information on file is correct, so that best friends like Toto and Schmoot can be reunited. In Phoenix, Elena Mendoza, Cronkite News.
The Arizona Animal Welfare League offers microchip procedures for $20.
If you find a lost dog or cat you can take it to any shelter or vet clinic to have it scanned for a microchip.
Valley fever usually causes flu-like symptoms, but in severe cases it can lead to death. The cause of this disease is a fungus called coccidioides, mainly found in the southwestern region of the United States and especially in Arizona. Cronkite News reporter Z Zung shows us how one Phoenix-based research institute is getting creative while working toward a cure for this disease.
Inside the headquarters of Translational Genomics Research Institute, or TGen, in downtown Phoenix, a small team of researchers led by Bridget Barker is working to gain a better understanding of valley fever. It's a disease that does not discriminate, infecting both humans and other mammals, like dogs. The researchers are part of a project called Valley Fever Pulse, trying to get owners of healthy dogs and those infected by valley fever to volunteer their saliva samples.
And it's more closely related to humans than, say, a laboratory mouse model, which is sort of the current standard for valley fever research.
The institute points out that currently there's no specific medicine and only limited research on this disease.
So the end goal of Valley Fever Pause is to identify those traits in a host that make that host more susceptible to severe disease.
According to the Centers for Disease Control, the number of valley fever cases has been on the rise in Arizona since 1998, averaging 15% growth each year.
Now, with these very high-tech machines, researchers at TGen will be able to scan the DNA of dogs with and without valley fever, and thus try to determine the cause for this mysterious disease, and perhaps someday discover a cure.
Brett Cordes is a veterinarian at Arizona Animal Hospital, and he agrees more research should be done to combat this disease.
Sometimes we choose the wrong medication. We might go for a cheaper, custom-made drug called a compounded pharmaceutical, which does not work as well as the FDA-approved human drugs. And we see delayed response and longer treatment times.
He also says one bit of good news is valley fever is not contagious. In Phoenix, Z Zung, Cronkite News.
Cats have always been that furry friend that provides a form of stress relief and companionship.
But now a new study shows your pet might actually be dangerous to your health. Reporter Ben Brown tells us why cats could be causing psychiatric disorders.
The answer is in the poop.
Every time you clean the litter box, you're at risk of getting toxoplasmosis, a parasitic disease that has been linked to impulsive aggression and extreme bouts of anger. Cats and their owners share a special bond.
I love them. I just love them.
But new research from the University of Chicago might have some people worried.
It freaks me out. It makes me wonder. You want to know more about it.
The recent study has found a connection between toxoplasmosis and intermittent explosive disorder, or IED, a psychiatric disorder with symptoms such as impulsive verbal and physical aggression.
Well, toxoplasma can invade and infect other areas of the body. Certainly, muscular, nervous system, brain are all areas that could theoretically be involved.
Cats shed the parasite in their poop, and a person can then be exposed when not properly washing their hands after changing the litter box, then ingesting it by putting their hands around their mouth.
It's a parasite that cats get from hunting and eating animals.
But where the parasitic disease becomes a big concern is with pregnant women.
That's the only time anyone ever mentioned anything about kitty litter, or they just said don't do it while you're pregnant.
In people, it has been associated affecting the placenta and potentially causing abortion. So one of the reasons that the advice often given is to ask women who are pregnant to not clean the litter box.
But the good news,
I think, any hysteria over cats, is unwarranted.
Teresa will be informing her friends about toxoplasmosis.
I think they should tell you before you adopt a cat. I mean, that's important.
But says her cats aren't going anywhere. Washing your hands, cleaning the litter box daily, and even using gloves are all ways to help ensure you don't get the parasite. But who knows? You might already have it and not even know it. An estimated 60 million people already do, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. However, in most cases, there are no serious health concerns. Ben Brown, Cronkite News.
As temperatures rise in Arizona, so do the dangers for undocumented migrants trying to cross the border.
The Border Patrol has rescued over 300 people in the Tucson area so far this year. Reporter Chloe Nordquist reports from southern Arizona on an initiative to save more lives.
As a helicopter buzzed through the desert sky, Border Patrol agents demonstrated a rescue of a migrant stranded in the desert. Last year, 63 undocumented immigrants died in southern Arizona's harsh deserts.
Our agency has seen the need to, address the issues of border deaths, obviously, with an attempt to reduce to zero, and because one death is way too many.
Search and rescue volunteers like Vicente Rodriguez agree.
The issues here is the number of deaths, which is one of the biggest things that we look at.
The Border Patrol recently added 5 solar-powered phones to rescue beacons. The beacons have a button for someone in distress to push for help.
With the Tucson sector, we've seen a decrease in deaths, and we like to attribute that success because of the rescue beacon deployments.
Border Patrol now collaborates with local agencies to respond to 911 calls.
About 70% of the calls that we get in this office are people that realize that the risk, if they continue, they're going to perish.
The Tucson area Border Patrol completed nearly 800 rescues in 2015, but for some, it's too late. Deadly temperatures, drug smugglers, and wildlife are just some of the dangers migrants face when crossing the border.
It always seems to be trending towards having more and more decedents found in the desert.
The missing migrant team was put together earlier this year to help families find loved ones who disappeared trying to cross illegally. The goal, educate people about the dangers. The hope some will think twice before risking their lives to cross the border. In Tucson, Chloe Nordquist, Cronkite News.
April 20th, or 420, is known to some as a day to celebrate marijuana use, but to others it's a time to educate on the potential harms of the plant. Jesse Schultz spoke with those for and against the drug.
If a vote were taken today, Arizonans would likely reject legalization of marijuana by 43 to 49%, according to a poll released by Arizonans for Responsible Drug Policy on the eve of 420, a celebratory holiday for those in the marijuana industry.
Well, what's happening today is we got the 420, which is the holiday for the cannabis industry.
Officials from Encanto Green Cross Dispensary say legalization of marijuana in Arizona is inevitable, and that is especially obvious on days like 420.
It's what the people want. and you're going to go with what the people want.
The campaign for regulating marijuana like alcohol has already gained 200,000 signatures in efforts to get the bill on the ballot in November and make Arizona laws similar to Colorado's. Though officials from Arizona's for Responsible Drug Policy say the result of legalization could be disastrous.
Think of it this way. Colorado teen use of marijuana is over 70% higher than the national average. Why anyone would want that, particularly here in Arizona, when we're already struggling with our budgets and economies and our education outcomes, is beyond me.
Nick Criaris believes people are going to use marijuana no matter what, so why not legalize it?
Whether it's legal or not legal, they're going to be using their medication.
But Seth Liebson says Colorado's legalization has had a negative impact.
Youth use skyrockets, traffic fatalities increase, problems with law enforcement, problems with employment and employee relations. Nothing positive for Arizona.
Liebson and other anti-legalization supporters say one of the biggest enemies is the lax reputation marijuana has from the 70s era.
Much more potent drug, doing greater and greater damage.
The campaign for regulating marijuana like alcohol said in a statement that they look forward to informing and educating the public on the benefits of regulating and taxing marijuana and keeping it out of the hands of teens. Jesse Schultz, Cronkite News.
The true measure of all our actions is how long the good in them lasts.
This is who I am, where I'm from.
If you're on the right side of history, you can accomplish anything.
It's a connection between your present and your past.
Come this way. This is good. This is very good.
We are attempting to fulfill the promise of America.
The stories about who we are shape us.
This is a chance to go through a time machine.
Good heavenly days.
We should know our history.
It informs, but it doesn't constrict you.
It's a framework to carry out human activity.
The sky is the limit.
It started a long time ago.
Now, here's an @Cronkite News Pick of the Week, a favorite from the Cronkite News staff.
The Arizona desert has proven to be a refreshing training ground as the biggest name in swimming readies for one final Olympic push.
I'm tan, which is always better. We like being able to see the sun. We like being able to see a blue sky, pretty much 99% of the time. It's just much more relaxing for us down here, and I think our environment around the pool is more laid back.
It wasn't merely the weather that drew Phelps to Arizona. Probably the biggest reason for his relocation to the Valley is a move his longtime coach Bob Bowman made a year ago to join Arizona State as its men's swimming and diving coach. That made Phelps leave a newly renovated house in Baltimore's Outer Harbor, pack up his brand new furniture, and head west.
He asked me this time last year, he said, if I go to Arizona State, would you come? And I think he knew that I wasn't going to swim for anybody else.
A one-time college coach for Michigan from 2005 to 2008, Bowman returned to the North Baltimore Aquatic Club after the 2008 games. ASU athletic director Ray Anderson took a shot in the dark last spring and ultimately convinced the celebrated swim coach to come to Tempe.
Went in thinking it was a courtesy call. And as he started to lay out his vision for ASU and what he thought was possible here and why he was here, I could tell that we really shared the same values and really vision for what we wanted to do. So I remember thinking when I left, I was like, wow, I'm going to be these guys' swim coach.
Allison Schmidt, another Bowman swimmer, left Baltimore and moved in with Phelps and his pregnant wife Nicole in Arizona. Schmidt has continued her training with Bowman, who was named the U.S. men's Olympic team swim coach in September, and Phelps, who she calls king of the sport.
He's like my brother. I have a brother and he's like another one. We can joke around and at the same time have a serious conversation, and he's always there for me, I'm always there for him.
With 4 months left till Rio, the focus is squarely on the Olympics for Michael Phelps and his coach Bob Bowman. But after this summer's games conclude, they'll return here to the Mona Plummer Pool at ASU, and their focus will shift to the student athletes.
You know, I kind of asked him if I was able to just come in and help and be able to give the guys and girls some pointers here and there, and he said the only way you can do it is a volunteer assistant. So I decided that Nicole and I are going to be here, and it'll be easy for me to just pop down to the pool in the morning or afternoon and just help out.
Phelps is the most decorated Olympian ever, winning 18 gold medals. However, those who work closest with him say his medals are only the beginning of what he will bring to ASU's swim team.
He'll definitely get them amped up. He's very good at that. He's good at motivating and he's good at critiquing. So it's he'll definitely have some things to say to them, and I think that he'll be a positive impact on the college team.
Michael's very good at observing people and figuring out what they need to do to get better. So I've seen him do that quite a bit, and he's very good at translating that to younger people, and I think he's going to be a natural as a coach. I think it'll be very good.
It's a different dynamic just because, obviously I'm normally in the pool, and I think him and I could see things differently, and we'd be able to maybe explain things differently, and just have a pretty interesting, I think, interaction with the other student athletes that are there, and really just be able to help them grow, and hopefully I can help Bob build a national championship level team.
Phelps is coming out of retirement to swim in his final Olympics this summer. He and Bowman hope their collaboration will lead to a historic culmination of Olympic spoils. In Tempe, Shay Roddy, Cronkite News.
Cronkite News tracks your likes, tweets, and shares from all our social sites to bring you this news special at Cronkite News, our weekly refresh. Join the conversation so you choose the news. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, and log on to cronkitenews.azpbs.org for top Arizona stories anytime.